Hello everyone, my lovely listeners. I don't really have inspiration what I'm going to talk about today, so I'll just see where it goes. It's late in the evening, the clocks have been changed, and so we are hour behind. It's really lovely to get this hour in a day to have more time, which is really not true. The time is the time and is always the same. It's just how we perceive it in our minds. I wanted to just mention that I had this presentation in front of, it wasn't 200 people, maybe 100 online and maybe around 100 in the room. I was talking about this in my last podcast, and I was saying how this podcast and the fact that I'm talking away and putting it online and just letting it be heard and just travel the time and the space, and how it prepared me for speaking out to real people, and how it gives me confidence. I can see how it gives me confidence every time I have to speak up or I speak up. And speaking out and presenting to all those people was really quite terrifying. I felt so nervous, and I think I didn't do a great job. I didn't have a whole lot to say, so I just had to say specific things about specific accomplishments. And I had the speech prepared. Someone even wrote it for me. Although, if someone, now I know that because I talk and I just improvise really, and I know the subject, well, apart from today, but I know the subject, and then I just talk about the subject, almost whatever comes to my mind. When I had the script, I tried to memorize it, and I thought I memorized it, but because these words and the way they were put together was not done by me, I completely forgot them. I just had a couple of phrases that I memorized, and I did say them, because my main thing that holds me back, and when the critic comes up, is that English is not my first language, that my accent is not great, that my pronunciation is lacking, all of those things. And because I live in the country that the first language is English, and because communication is so important to me, the communication as an air sign, as a Gemini, Mars, I'm going into astrology here, so just bear with me. Because the communication is so important for me, that's why when I cannot communicate fully, when I cannot, or in my head cannot express myself fully, I feel very limited. And when I cannot put out my feelings, my emotion, my thoughts, my ideas out there to people, and I am not understood and I am not seen, I get frustrated, and I tend to get very critical about myself. I don't know if any one of you can resonate, and if one of you operates in the second language, and if communication is important to you. And I think nowadays, with the podcasts and social media and everything else, that the media in its entirety, the communication is so important, and how you communicate, and especially now through this podcast, the only way you can perceive me is through my voice, the way my voice sounds excuse me, the way my voice sounds, the way I pronounce things, my tone of my voice, and the punctuation, the kind of little breaks I take when I speak, or the pauses. So everything is making this communication. And I suppose, I assume, because that's what I do when I listen to podcasts, and I don't know how those people look like in a podcast like this, not on a YouTube, because that's a different kind of means. I imagine those people, and the voices in the podcast is everything. That's why the podcast for me, and making it, no, I wanted to say that that's why it was more difficult. It's actually not, because I was thinking about YouTube and going out and presenting myself how I look like, obviously, and then it comes everything, what my hair looks like, my eyes, my face, my what I'm dressed in, my makeup, everything around me, right? People are very usually quite attractive on YouTube, and I'm not even talking about how they look. They what they held, their dedication and self-assurance shines through them, and the more self-assured and the more they know what they are talking about, in terms of that they are so certain, the more it shines through them, and I guess the more people listen to them, because they maybe are more relatable, because they are so self-assured, and because they are so certain what they are talking about. So I am not ready for this. I am not ready for YouTube. I am not ready to be kind of perceived of how I look like. And not only that, I believe I am just scared that someone that I know would see me. I put myself out there, and when they see me, they would judge me, or they would laugh at me. And I think that at the moment, this is just not the way for me to express myself. It's different to talk and to record episode like this when I'm in bed, and I don't have to put makeup on, and I don't have to have specific lighting. Is it because there is less work going into it? Maybe. I like things to be effortless. And don't get me wrong, going on and recording myself is not effortless. It's not like I can do that every day. It's still work. It's still something that I have to kind of sort of convince myself to do, and I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? What's the goal? What's my objective? What I want to get through this? And all those insecurities, and all this procrastination, and like, is it worth it? Why I am doing this? And I hope also you can relate to that in any other action. But underlying of this action, so for me, recording, is that I like doing it. I always liked communicating. I always liked talking. I like talking about psychology, spirituality. It interests me. Not only like talking about it, I like listening about it. So I like listening when other people discuss it. I like listening about research and about the spiritual side, and I like listening about other people's experience. And then I digest it and put it out like that in this format, and relate it to experiences in my life. So underlying this this activity of doing the podcast is something that I found in myself, that always was there, that I just try to create and put out there, even though I don't really know what's the goal behind it, other than if it helps you somewhere there outside in the outside world, even if it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, then this is the goal. If you can take 2 sentences, if it can help you with the issue you have, or some thoughts you are having of how to, I don't know, live or resolve a problem or anything like that, and if it helps anyone, then I am happy. And I know it does, because I have those experiences with people that I coached, or through discussions that I had. And I know that when I was talking with some of the people, I saw the light in their eyes. I saw their energy change or even shifted slightly because of something I said. So if that's the case, that through my podcast it happens to someone, that is going to give them this little spark or a little help to shift, then I am super happy. And why I'm talking about this is that through going back to my presentation, I went out on this podium, whatever stage, and I was talking about those accomplishments, and I had to come up with some numbers, I had some numbers, so I recite the numbers, I remembered them, but that was all I remembered from this speech that someone wrote for me. So I was just blabbering away. I don't think that the English was, well, the sentences were not put correctly together in my mind, because I don't even know what I was saying. But while talking, I was looking at people and their reactions, and I was looking at people's eyes, and they were just looking at me as if they were giving me encouragement and like saying, "You're doing great, you can do it." But I also felt that they felt my struggle, and I concentrated so heavily on the fact that English is not my first language. So the encouragement they were giving me was the encouragement that or the words that people always say, "Oh, but you speak so low, your English is amazing, is perfect." In my head, I know it's not. And I give myself so much crap about it, and I give myself so much criticism, and I know I shouldn't, because why? Like, what good is it bringing that I give myself so much criticism? But not only that, I don't stop on being critical towards myself. I also give this criticism to other people, and it's automatic. It doesn't come from the like a safe space. It doesn't come from the healed space. And as soon as I am aware of that, then the other voice comes in my mind saying, "Stop it." If I am critical towards someone, how they talk, how they how they speak, if I don't know, if English is not their first language and they have a very like a heavy accent, or they I don't know, mispronounce something, or they don't use the whatever vocabulary, I am so critical towards them. I am more critical towards myself, but I am critical towards them. And it's very difficult for me to stop that. And I don't know exactly where it comes from. Well, I know where it comes from. It comes from my unhealed. It comes from my own insecurity towards myself. The critic inside myself towards this very specific part that is, like I said, so important for me, communication, is very, very strong. But don't get me wrong, because I was thinking about it a lot, as you do. it's not really about English. Is about speaking in general. So because I haven't really spoken out in my first language a lot now. But a very funny thing is that both of the languages, so my first language and my second language, are not great. I've been speaking English for such a long time. I think the interesting thing that people ask me is, do you dream in English? Do you think in English? I believe I do think in English, or definitely more than half of my thoughts are in English, and to the point that I don't remember some of the idioms or words sometimes in my own language. So both of the languages now are not that great. Not my first language, and obviously not the second language, because I wasn't born with it. And funnily enough, I met someone who commented on my first language that it was crap or whatever. Well, that was kind of sort of what this person meant when I was speaking in my first language. We were with a group of friends, and he just made this comment that, oh, you forgot your language or whatever it was. And then the second thing about this person was that I saw his inner critic, and I saw his insecurities about how he speaks English. It was a very great mix, because in his mind, and actually some of his friends, this person spoken with a very heavy American accent, which I guess he picked up somewhere, and it was a good accent. It was good American accent. It was still an accent that he picked up, and he was just trying to reproduce. So you can see my critic is coming out now, because what do I care? What do I care what accent he speaks? His English was perfect. But we had this kind of back and forth with him criticizing my accent and in English, and also the fact that my first language wasn't great. And in my mind, I didn't say that because I know better. But in my mind, first time I've heard him, I also in my mind heavily criticized his American accent. So this critic came up obviously after I presented, and I came out of the stage, and I had a few compliments that people said, oh, you smashed it, you did great. I didn't believe them. And why? Because I live in the corporate world, and I've seen a lot of people just saying things just to be nice. So sorry if that sounds mean, but as I said thank you very much, and I just said that I wanted to do it more, because I said that because that's what I really want to do. Because my thought after coming out of the stage and then reflecting on it, other than that I was horrible, was that I actually really liked it. I liked the attention. I liked that I was there and people were looking at me, and I was expressing myself, and I was seen. I liked it. I liked the whole act, apart obviously from the fact that I was blabbering and I couldn't remember what was I going to say, and I had to make it up. But I made it up, so I don't know if they invite me again or not. But and sorry about the buts. I also came back to this moment when I was a little girl, and I used to play dress-ups, and I always was a singer, and I would stand up with whatever my mom's scarf around me. I was or probably putting her shoes as well, or like a fair, and I had the skipping rope, which was my microphone with the cable, and I would stand in front of the mirror and I would sing. And I think my stage name was Eve or something like that. I like to sing very much, but it wasn't about the singing that much, although I love to sing. It was about the performance. It was about the fact that I was being seen, that I don't want to say I was a star, because that's not, it was more for kind of people to look at me and appreciate me. Yes, and I came back to this memory after coming back from the stage, and the fact that I really enjoyed that. And this is something that we, if we play that as kids, because there are many plays or games, and I guess every one of you had their own favorite thing that they used to love when they were kids. They used to love playing, and I can bet you it didn't go away. It might have been buried somewhere. You don't go back to it at all. You forgot it. You just thought, oh, your goal is something else. You're gonna be IT whiz, or don't know, influencer, or own a shop, or work in the bank, whatever you do. But when you go back to what you were doing as a child, what you love to do, this is the essence. This is something that I bet you still love doing, and you can, and it may look look like something else. For me, it's not being a singer. I only now realize that it's not being a singer, although again, I love singing. It's about performing, speaking up, being seen, being out there, doing something for people, and speaking up. Yes, it looks like speaking up. So this stage, for me, I remembered this childhood memory. So I leave you today with a question of, what is it for you? What you love to do when you were a child, and how can you recreate that? What in this play, what was it that you enjoyed so much doing? Did you forget about it, or is it present in your life? And wishing you all the best for the rest of this week, and speak to you very soon. Bye bye.